My name is Trish Ware, and I am obsessed with all things pregnancy and birth, and helping you to navigate both the practical and the magical seasons of this journey called motherhood. I'm an all-day coffee-sipping mama of 7. I've had the amazing privilege of delivering many babies in my 15-plus year career as a labor and delivery nurse and as a mama of 7. I'm here to help you take the guesswork out of childbirth so you can make the choices that are right for you and your baby. Quick note, this podcast is for educational purposes only and does not replace your medical advice. Check out our full disclaimer at the bottom of the show notes. Hello, everyone. Today, I have a very special guest. This is one of my students from my birth classes, Taylor, and I am so excited to talk to her because she has so much to share with you guys. Hello, Taylor.
Hi, Trish. I'm excited to talk to you too. It's been great being in your class, in your course, and in your groups, and just having this experience to talk to you one-to-one is a treat.
Yes, I'm just going to say this at the beginning. So for those of you guys who don't know, we have a mom, I've been calling it our Mama Hive, like our Mama membership, where it's postpartum and pregnancy. And I love how active you are and how you're answering and sharing. And I just think it's beautiful. So thank you so much.
Yes, I love it. It's been a great resource for me. So thank you.
I'm blown away because the postpartum chat in particular, I had Grayson 9 years ago. And things change so fast. So it's really even sweet to see these moms who are a little farther ahead than the others and a little behind the ones here and just taking each other's hands and sharing, especially with Ashley, our community manager. And just, she is on top of all the things.
She really is.
She's so funny too, because I am just not that stage of life where I just didn't grow up in a technical state, but she has. So if we're looking for links, she has it in like a nanosecond. I don't know how she does it. But anyway, we're not talking about that. So Taylor, I would love for us to talk about who you are, what brought you to Labor Nurse Mama, and just your journey, because I feel like we were saying before we started recording, I think I had Grayson at 42. And even 9 years ago, there wasn't a lot of women talking about having babies, older, starting. Of course, he was baby number 7 for me, so a little different. But go ahead and just tell everyone your journey.
Sure. I was just thinking about this post that I shared on X. I think I was 32, maybe 32 weeks pregnant at the time. And I was just trying to be accountable to the things that I needed to do still in my preparation for childbirth and everything. And I posted something like things that I'm still needing to get done or whatever at 32 weeks pregnant. And I listed them. And I had this slew of comments on the bottom being like, because I said my age and everything to contextualize my experience. Then I had all these people saying, I'm like 10 years younger than you and I would be well more prepared than this. Like clearly you're waiting to the last minute to get all these things checked off your list. I'm like, I wasn't trying to criticize or say anything about me being better because I'm older than younger people. But I just really wanted to hold myself accountable and contextualize my experience. And that was when I found Labor Nurse Mama, because I was like, birth course, I need to check this off, stat. So I had been looking around at different places, like the hospital course and like some things that I found on Instagram, but the algorithm put you in my line of sight.
And way to go, algorithm.
Exactly. It's the best algorithm. And then I did my vetting and I was like, oh, Trish looks great. I love what she's offering. And I did the free course. What do you call it?
Fearless Birth Experience, FBE.
Fearless Birth Experience. Yes. And that was great. And I signed up for the VIP. And then I was like, I think this is my home for what I need. And Dennis and I sat down and did the whole course, probably a little too late, but like we should have done it earlier, but we did do it before we ended up in the hospital. So we were taking notes and that was really helpful. So every part of the way has been extremely helpful for me, but I do advise people to do it a little bit sooner than when I started. But yeah, I think it's now being a part of the community, I'll probably stay in it and plan for baby number 2 well in
Woohoo.
advance. Having some experience, not being a first-time mom after this, I'll feel much more comfortable. But that's what led me to you. And I have to say, like, all the information that we absorbed, crammed for, was so helpful at the hospital. And it was funny though, because can I just go straight into the birth?
Yeah, for sure.
So I was very, I just didn't want to get induced. So my doctor had asked for me to get induced, and my doctor is a high risk OB. And along the way, she was pretty open to a lot of my requests. She answered my questions, although she is hard nosed. She almost reminds me of a German or something.
Oh.
She's very specific about her wants and her requests, but my dad was a doctor, so I know about bedside manner versus like skill sets. And her skill sets are very strong. Her bedside manner is a little bit sharp, but she's very good at what she does. And I trusted her, but I just didn't quite grasp why she wanted me to be induced so much, because I didn't have any reasons for it other than my advanced maternal age, which is, well, I'm 44, but turning 45 in a month. And she was very convinced that I needed to be induced, but she couldn't tell me a reason based on my body. Only this is her experience with older moms and what the research says and stuff like that. So we went into the hospital and we asked the nurse, who was very lovely. She just spent an hour with us going over my whole birth plan and answering all my questions and everything. But she said, if you don't feel comfortable being induced, then that's up to you. You can leave if you want to. And I said, since I forget, what is the test that they do to give you a score to see how your labor is coming along?
You talking about for getting induced, like your Bishop score?
Bishop score, yes. So I asked her, I said, let's find out what my Bishop score is, find out where I'm at.
She was probably like, how do you know that?
Yeah, exactly. So I had come all prepared to defend my decision not to be induced. And I probably forgot it all by now, but we'll work through that. And I think I was like a 2 or a 3 tops. And I was a centimeter dilated. And I just didn't feel ready. And so we were going to work up to talking to the doctor to convince her that I was going to leave and come back when I was a little bit closer to labor. And so she had me hooked up to the monitor. I forget why she hooked me up to the monitor.
They always do.
Yeah. So she did. And then the doctor was on the phone and the doctor was not happy. She was like, Taylor, we talked about this at the office. I need you to get induced and she's starting to say all these things, but I'm tuning out because all of a sudden the nurse started freaking out and she pressed a button and she called in all the nurses to come in. I realized there was like a beeping sound coming from the monitor and they're all like flipping me around and trying to hook me up to stuff. And so I really wasn't paying attention because I was preparing to talk to the doctor and fight with her about it. But in my confused state, Dennis was asking questions as well. We got the information that there was a deceleration of the heartbeat and it lasted for 3 minutes.
Which is long and scary.
Yes. And I thought maybe it was a mistake because that whenever I did the NSTs leading up to that, because I did them twice a week, like the NSTs and the BPPs.
Let me interject just for a second. For those of you guys listening, we are all about mom navigating the decisions and being educated, but also compromising and being safe. Taylor didn't want to be induced, but she agreed to the extra BPPs and NSTs so they can make sure baby is good. So
right. Yes. And everything had been fine throughout the whole pregnancy. And the only thing that was funny was whenever we did these NSTs, it's like the machine was faulty and it was hard to get his heartbeat. Sometimes it would fall down, but it would go right back up. And so it was like, because I had an anterior placenta, maybe it was just hard to get his.
So sometimes maybe it was tracing you as well.
Yes, exactly. So that's what I thought it was perhaps that had happened in the hospital. Right. And so she explained that to me and she like the look of terror on everyone's face, like they were all very good about doing their job, but I felt their concern for the baby. And once they got everything settled and the heartbeat was found again and everything, they just said, that was not good. Like, you need to stay. And so Dennis and I looked at each other and we're like, of course, like if this is a real distress of the baby, yes, we're staying. Induce me. I'm all yours from now on. So that was the turning point of almost leaving, and how scary that would have been if I had left and that happened and I didn't know. And who knows if it had happened before and I didn't know. So yeah, that was like a big wake up call. And so then at that point, it was really just about stabilizing the baby. So they wanted to monitor him for 5 or 6 hours at least before starting the induction process. So that's what we did. And the doctor was very clear that if that happened again, I would be taken to the OR for a C-section for sure. So I really didn't want that to happen either. So I just tried to stay calm and have faith that everything would work out. And thankfully it did. He was back on track. And so then we started the induction process.
And how did it go with your doctor navigating that? Was she like, I told you so, this is what we needed to do?
She was fine once she showed up. She wasn't, I even told the nurse, I was like, please tell her to go easy on me. Like, I'm freaking out now, but, I didn't mean to, challenge her opinion. I didn't understand the risk to me in particular. I understand.
Well, the thing about this, about fetal decelerations is, like you said, it's probably happened, and baby has passed NSTs and BPPs. We've had some really deep conversations about this. My guess is babies do that. We're not on monitors 24/7. So the babies are doing this, they recoup and they do okay. But once we see it and we lay eyes on it in the hospital, it's like you have to react. You have to do something. So they started your induction, and how did that go?
It went really well because I knew what to ask for, and we had gone over the birth plan, but I knew what to expect. So I really wanted to do the bulb and all those things they didn't want to distress the baby anymore. So she was on board with,
she was all board of what you
all
wanted.
those things of not doing anything that was irreversible, going slowly and seeing how he took to it. And the bulb was what was the game changer. And I wasn't expecting that, but I was surprised at how much it induced all the labor things. And I threw up and and a lot of the contractions were uncomfortable.
So your body was really ready.
Yeah.
Even though it didn't appear to be.
I don't remember what happened with the cervidil. I think that just softened the cervix.
So did they start with that?
Yeah, they did start with that.
So the cervidil softens the cervix, effaces it, and the bulb dilates it.
Right.
It's mechanical.
Yeah. So that was just several hours of waiting around. And then I used the positionings of things. I had the peanut ball and was walking around and eating and snacking.
And your labor bat signal.
Yes, all of that. So that was, and plus the hospital was great. So everyone was wonderful, which made me feel comfortable. But I brought a lot of stuff. I had a huge Jeep wagon full of stuff, and you brought so much, you're moving in. I'm like, I'm coming prepared. I've been a part of the labor nurse mama. So
I'll tell you, I had the funniest experience one time. I had delivered my patient and I came back and they were like, we're giving you a patient, but we're literally waiting for her postpartum room to be ready. And they were like, but just a word of warning. She came in, she was a long induction, and she has a lot of stuff. And so I was like, should I get an extra table? And they were like, oh yeah. So I brought 2 rolly tables and I go in and I kid you not, they had one of those big play yards for babies.
Yeah.
Full of stuff. And it was a square one, like 5 foot by 5 foot, full of stuff. So we're walking with 2 tables and Dad is pulling this play yard full of things. I was like, and she had our tub room. We had 1 tub room. So she had wanted to labor in the tub. And same thing. She had her own birth ball, her own peanut ball, all the things filling this big thing. So that's what I was picturing when you were saying that.
Yeah. Luckily, we had gotten this off of our registry. So it was like this nice big wagon.
That's really a brilliant idea. I should put that on my hospital checklist.
You should. Absolutely.
Because it can be really hard for dad to move all the things to postpartum as well. So I'm sure that made it easier.
Yes, it did. It did.
I'm going to be like, thanks to Taylor.
I know. I'll send the link to you, and then you can edit the thing too. But yeah, so we came prepared, and I had the candles and the air, what do you call it? The diffuser and everything. And so I felt really, and also like I was naked. Like I was just like basically naked most of the time anyway. I just got comfortable, which was awesome. And Dennis,
which it means that's probably why all the things did go so smoothly and labor started, because you had that oxytocin flow in.
Yes. Yeah, I did. I don't know. I think the highest is like 20, but I think I got to 12 and that was when labor really started. But the induction process, I don't really consider that a part of how long I labored. Is that usually what people include?
Most people do include it, but really until you start making like active cervical change is when labor really started.
That's how I feel. So I didn't actually labor that long. Like even Dennis said at a certain point, he took a nap because it had been almost 24 hours, like 20 hours. So then he took a nap. And when he woke up, the doctor was like, we're ready to go. So get started. And then once the pushing happened, it was like 10 minutes.
Yeah.
So
that's amazing.
To me, I feel like labor was, I don't know, maybe like an hour, but the real pushing only took 10 minutes.
And did you get an epidural? You didn't, did you?
I did.
Oh, you did. I couldn't remember if you did or not.
Yeah, this is the part that I was really surprised about because I had no idea it would immobilize me to that extent. And I know it's different for some people and different countries, like they do it differently. But I was not expecting to be like a paraplegic from the waist.
Yeah, you shouldn't have been. That's not right.
I asked the guy, and I still have the bill sitting here. I'm like, I'm not paying this crazy bill to this guy. My hospital bill was less than his bill. But I told him, I said, can I have a mild epidural? And he's like, no, it doesn't really work that way. That's what he told me.
No, a good epidural, your legs will feel very heavy, but you should still be able to move them around yourself. And a lot of women really hate their epidural when it's too heavy like that. So that was just him covering his ass.
Oh my God. It was ridiculous. I didn't want to stress at the time. So I just went with it. But Dennis had to put up my leg in one stirrup and they put up the other leg in the other stirrup. And the only thing
So you should have needed some help lifting those up, but you still should have been able to move them and feel them.
Yeah. That's good for other people to know. And I don't know how you prepare for that in advance, just making sure you have an anesthesiologist that does the epidural the way that you want it. But I had hoped for nitrous oxide before to see if that just took the edge off, because I wasn't in that much pain. Like the discomfort from contractions weren't so much that but I just didn't know what to anticipate, like how it would end up once the crowning and everything. And Dennis was like really afraid of me being in a lot of pain and for there being any distress at that point. And so he also was encouraging me to get it because he wanted, what they were saying was it would put me in a state of like, let's say immobilizing me, but maybe the intention was not to be that drastic, but that my body would only it would only do what it was made to do involuntarily, basically. And I wouldn't fight it through the pain or something like that. That was the rationale they gave me. And so which
is interesting.
Yeah. I didn't want to end up.
Was this an older guy, the anesthesiologist? Do you remember?
It's hard to tell if he was old. He was just
older.
Yeah. Maybe. I don't know. Maybe.
Yeah.
No, he wasn't like 65 or anything like that.
Yeah.
But
he sounds old school.
Yeah. The next time I would like to see if I can try the nitrous oxide first, just to see if that would take.
My only concern about that for you is that you were already vomiting. Nitrous oxide can make some people very nauseated, which that in itself is hard to concentrate and keep your mindset when you feel that sick. So when you were saying that, I was thinking Charity said she was throwing up just from dilating. So that would have been a concern. The good thing about it is if it makes you sick, it's out of your system really quick. So it's not, I don't want to scare you from trying it because it's literally out of your system when you take the mask off. So that's the thing I love about it. But women either hate it or love it. There's literally no in between. There's no, yeah, it was all right.
Gotcha. I didn't see, and nobody asked me about it, even though it was on the birth plan, but I just didn't want to miss my opportunity for the epidural. So once I asked, they said, now's the time because he's got a few people ahead of you. Everything worked out. I just wanted to avoid the OR. I didn't want to get a C-section. So that was good. So I can be grateful for that. Everything
And
else,
you did it.
yes.
You did that.
Everything went smoothly after that. I just was a little bit upset about how intense the epidural was. That's it, pretty much. And
I'm pushing for 10 minutes is pretty damn cool. Good. Like, that's good.
Exactly. So that was the easy part. But Dennis makes fun of me. He's like, when you were pushing, your eyeballs seemed to like pop out. And I was like, because I didn't know what I was doing because you can't feel anything. So you're just like,
especially with that heavy of an epidural, I'm really surprised you pushed. Did you labor down?
I know I asked for it, but I did what I could.
I bet you did. I bet you labored down.
Yes.
Because usually when you have a really heavy or dense epidural, that is where it's difficult because you can't feel the pressure to push down. So my guess is your nurse was really good and she waited.
Yes, she was really good. She just put me in some positions and it was like in 2 positions, I was complete after being stuck at 5 centimeters for a long time. So that whatever she did, one was like the side
exaggerated sideline.
Yeah, there was like an elevated thing with my my leg or whatever. That worked really well. And she was so quirky, but I loved her because she just knew what she was doing.
Quirky is fun.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So I was happy with how it ended up. And what was interesting was when I was I don't remember delivering the placenta, but the placenta showed up and the doctor said, "Do you want to see him?" Absolutely. And she asked me what I want to do with it. I was like, Dennis wasn't interested in doing anything with it. So I said, "It's okay. You can take it." And she looked at it and showed me. It was nice and red, but she also said, there are some signs of premature aging here. And the umbilical cord was very thin. And she didn't really explain what that could mean, but I looked it up and it looks like oxygen could be restricted and nutrients. And so maybe that was what caused his heart rate to decelerate.
It really depends because all placentas towards 40 weeks and after will start having what's called calcifications. But the result of that is a baby who is not getting oxygenated, but your baby was showing that it was passing the NSTs and BPPs. So I think you just made the right decision in the right time. Do I think that there would have been something terrible happen if you hadn't been induced? Probably not. But again, baby's good, you're good. And so you made the right decision. So
yes. And it was funny because we were laughing the other day. It was almost like a magic trick because he just popped out, and then there was,
I bet there are a lot of women listening to you right now going, please let me have that magic trick.
Yeah. And he looked clean. He looked like he had a bath before he was birthed because he didn't have any vernix on him or whatever.
How many weeks were you when you were induced?
It was 39 plus, I guess, a day or two. Yeah.
And did you know, I don't remember if you were IVF or not. You weren't, right?
He was a natural conception. We didn't have IVF before.
The only reason I'm asking is that maybe you were farther along than you thought. Because the earlier a baby, the more cheesy, the more vernix, and the farther past your due date you get, the more that vernix goes away.
Yeah.
So if you're telling me he came out nice and clean, I bet you were past what you thought you were.
Maybe.
I bet you were off on your dates a little.
Yeah. I was in the beginning too, because I ovulated early.
Yeah. So I bet you that could be why there was some calcification.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's true. Good point. But yeah, I just thought it was funny because we both made the same comment, how like the actual labor was relatively easy. Obviously there was an epidural, but he just popped out. And then we were like, wow, it's so surreal.
Well, next baby, don't cough or sneeze. Go to the hospital.
Yeah. Next baby, we're thinking about, because we have an embryo boy in cryo with the fertility clinic. So I know they don't usually like you to wait that long. when you're at my age to implant. So I might just go for it. I don't know what the recommended time frame is.
I'm not sure either, but this is exciting.
Yeah, we would like to go like as soon as February, March and see if that's possible.
And baby was born. How old is baby now?
He's 7 weeks.
So I don't know why it feels like it's been longer.
Yeah.
So you delivered after Ashley. I was thinking you delivered before. I don't know. We've had so many babies in the last 2 months. I can't keep up with them all.
They're so cute whenever all the ladies share the pictures. I love it.
I know. I love it too. I've told the ladies, let them in the postpartum chat, let them help each other. And so we snoop in there and make sure everything's going good. But I love the conversations and the way you guys encourage each other. Mm-hmm. Postpartum is no joke. It's hard.
Yeah.
It's hard.
And you know what? I was actually blessed with that part, which I don't want to minimize it for other women, but I think because of my age, that was also a concern of mine that my body would not be as resilient. And I think a lot of women are very afraid of that process. And so I don't want to say, don't worry about it, but I do want to say you don't have to have this awful experience.
Okay, let's say two things though. And I'm going to say this to all age women because I had Grayson at 42, but I also took really good care of my body and I was active. And I would say the same for you. So whether you're 21 or 47, if you're not caring for the body you're in and you're not remaining active, pregnancy and postpartum can be difficult, period. But the more that you honor that body and take care of your body. So I would say just because no one's going to be seeing you, you're very healthy. And I think you also take care of your body.
Yes, definitely. And that was one of the reasons why I was struggling with the induction, was because I felt like I'm super healthy, there's no problems or whatever. But postpartum, I was walking around the next day, full day, after, and I wasn't trying to do too much. I felt recouped and I felt energetic and I didn't have any complications through the postpartum experience. I think I walked the 5th day. I took a walk around the neighborhood and stuff on the 5th day. I've lost my weight, all the weight.
Did you have any tearing or any hemorrhoids? Those two little bandits can cause some issues.
Yeah, there supposedly was a tear, and I didn't feel it or anything. And
did they have to repair it or no?
There was a stitch, but I didn't notice anything.
I personally think that hemorrhoids are worse than the tear because I've had both, and hemorrhoids are they're so terrible. And it makes getting up and down, walking, all of it difficult. So you probably didn't have hemorrhoids either.
I guess not. I still have all my setup, but I'd only used 3 or 4 days of all the pads, and the perineal things and all that stuff. But I think most women are really just worried about the wear and tear it does on your body. And obviously you do have a transition and you have to accept and embrace all of those changes. But if you do take care of your body, not just by being in the gym, but with your diet, I think for me, I really focused on my diet the last 1.5 years, 2 years even, because I used to be much more active and I was in the best shape of my life whenever that was, in 22. Was about the last I was in the gym, and my body fat was 14.5%. And that's what I had to change. I had to start improving my diet with fats to get more fertile. So I left the gym at that point and really just focused on my diet and walking. And so when people say you're so healthy, I think I primed my body before, but then I really just focused on diet. And a lot of people probably are lax there. I would just assume that's something that not a lot of people focus on. But because of my age, I really wanted to focus on epigenetics and preconception health. And so most people just try to get pregnant kind of the last.
That's how I got pregnant at 42, by the way, is because I really changed my diet.
Okay.
But not to get pregnant. I had 2 losses And because of that, my weight had gone up and down. And I've never really struggled with my weight, but I just didn't feel super healthy.
Mm-hmm.
And so I had taken a travel assignment. I was in California and I was working with this girl who ate very healthy. We started going to Pilates together. And then my ex-husband came to visit and left behind a little something extra and I was pregnant. But afterwards I talked to my nutritionist and she's, oh yeah, that's probably why. Exactly why. So
absolutely. It makes
it makes a huge difference.
I agree.
It really does.
I think I see people talking about this now much more because it was this esoteric thing to believe that you had control of your genetics beforehand. Mm-hmm. And even for me, like my AMH went from from 0 basically to 1.4, which is a huge improvement. Mm-hmm. And that's not the only thing that's going to allow you to conceive, but that's a huge improvement. And all the other blood works that change just based on altering your diet and lifestyle, cleaning things out of your house.
Most people, unless you've struggled with repetitive miscarriages or infertility, no one's going to know what AMH is, but that is fantastic. So I definitely I'm so grateful you came because I think, like you said, what I hear from the moms who are advanced maternal age, which I hate, but the older moms, they are worried on whether they're going to be able to labor. Are they going to be able to get through that well, or recovery? So you nailed both of those. And it's the same answer for everyone. Take care of your body. And I don't say deny yourself all the things. If you're having cravings, okay, but moderation. Think in moderation.
Yeah, absolutely. Ice cream was definitely a staple, but good ice cream, like clean ice cream that's not full of junk. But yeah, I think I really tapered back off a lot of that stuff once I was like, okay, my blood sugars are a little bit higher than I want them to be. I didn't get diagnosed with gestational diabetes, but I tracked my own blood sugars and made sure that I was in the healthy range. So I just backed off of a lot of carbs, rice and potatoes and white flour and stuff like that, and just ate more whole wheat bread and fruit. Fruit is always great. So I've been eating a lot of fruit for the past 2 years. And I don't know when fruit got a bad rap, but there was like this demonization of fruit for a while. And people thought you had to stay away from it. But no, I think all the antioxidants in those fresh fruits are really good for you.
So healthy. Mm-hmm. So before we wrap this up, I want to ask you, as a mom who waited later to have children, how your life now, do you miss anything? Is it hard? Are you just like in heaven?
We're in heaven. I think that's the silver lining of fighting so hard to get to this point and waiting so long, is that you really do appreciate even the worst moments and the hardest moments, because you're bought in. This is not something that you take for granted. So every day we're just so grateful for him. And when he's being all fussy and crying, like, we're just grateful. And obviously we have our moments. And so I'll be like, Dennis, I need you. And he'll be like, Taylor, he needs your boob.
Yeah.
But other than that, I think I'm very ready for all the challenges that parenthood brings. I don't think I could have done this at 25 or 30 or 35 even, just because of what was going on in my life and where I was at personally. So I do encourage people to have children at a younger age, but if you're not in a healthy state of mind or in a healthy environment, it's going to be much harder to parent. So do focus on getting healthy yourself first, and add in, obviously, finding the right person to settle down with and starting a family.
Yeah, that's really important.
Yes, it is. Absolutely. Because that's a lot of the work that I do, is helping people find the right person to settle down with. And I was married and divorced as well. I think it was, I don't know how long ago, almost 10 years ago now. So I met and married the wrong person, and I didn't want to have kids with him. And so I knew, once I really realized that, I knew that I needed to start over and find the right person. And that's what my focus has been on in my work, is really helping people avoid having to learn the hard way and make sure that they figure out what they need in order to be healthy and happy.
Yeah, because I think especially us as women, we compromise in that area and lie to ourselves, and it doesn't get better. So Make the right choices. That's what I love. So I was married before too, and that was a nightmare. But my husband, now we've been married for 4 years, but we got married. I am 5 years older than him. He never has been married or had kids. And then he meets me and I have 7.
Yeah.
Quite the change. I know. I was telling the girls on the morning, was with Trish this morning, that I think for him, I'm speaking for him, but I know so. One of the hardest things, because he was single forever, is that in his house where he put stuff, it stayed there.
Yeah. Not anymore.
Nope. Because he puts it in weird places. It doesn't belong there. So he'll be like, that has been really difficult for him. I put my keys there. The keys go in the key basket, Steve.
Exactly.
Not there.
8 against 1.
Yeah. Most of my kids are grown and out of the house, but it's just me against him, and I win because I'm here all day and he leaves to go to work. But Taylor, I'm so glad that you came, and I'm so glad that you're a part of our community. And I know you just hinted a little bit about what you're doing, but tell everyone where they can find you, because I know I've had a lot more single moms and single women that are thinking about having babies. So I'd love to connect them with you.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, I'm a retired mental health counselor and marriage and family therapist. So I decided to become a coach so that I could really focus on all of these things. Like I was telling you a little bit about being divorced and recognizing I wasn't in the right place. So I had to switch gears. And so now I do end up working with a lot of older women like myself who they look up to me and they want to emulate certain things or learn the things that I learned. So they find me so that they can hopefully achieve the same things on their terms. And I also work with younger people too, who just want to find the right partner. And I call my system the vetting system. So
I love that.
Yeah. Find me on Instagram and you can learn all about the vetting system. I think.
And what's your username?
It's at Taylor Burrows. So my married name is Demori, and we got married just in April. So everything is under my former name, which is.
We'll put it in the show notes so you guys can find her.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I love that, because literally the most important decision you can make is who you do life with. And I learned that the hard way because I got married the first time very young, just stayed because that's really the advice you get from most people, especially in a church community, which I was very involved. And that's not always what you need to do. And Steve and I were just talking about that. When you're right with the right partner and you're like, the Bible says equally yoked.
Yes.
And I didn't understand that when I was younger, but it is so true. But it's not just your beliefs. It's your intelligence level, your ability to communicate. It's how your outlook on life, all of that. Steve and I have our differences, but they work. Yes. They work together.
Exactly.
And that's so important. So what you're doing is amazing. And I'm all about the online business world. So I love it.
Yeah, I don't know if we have time, but I did want to encourage the single women. I had a client who was 45. I'll just say it really quickly. She had frozen her eggs, was on the verge of going to inseminate to be a single mom. And she came to me and she said, Taylor, do I have time to actually look for Mr. Right? And I said, yes, but you have to fully commit to my system. And she's okay, I'm giving it all to you. And she did. She ended up meeting her guy who's 2 years younger. And they have 2 babies now. And she actually sent a bunch of her baby's clothes to me. And she said,
oh, that's amazing.
Yeah. So we've been using a lot of her hand-me-downs, and it's just full circle. But there is hope if you want to go that route. If you don't.
Is that how you found your husband? Through your.
Yes. Yeah. Well,
through your system.
That's how it was being created at the same time. And then once everything got clarified, I was able to ink it, basically. So now being able
I love that.
to share it is so important to me, like just to help people prevent the problems. Because as a retired marriage therapist, I used to treat the problems, but I much prefer preventing them for people, Well,
and I love that you're doing it the way you do it, because really traditional therapy and counseling, like it needs to be like on crack because it's way too slow to get help.
Exactly.
Like I think back, I was in therapy so much during my marriage, and I know that there's value to sitting back and letting the person discover what they need to discover. But sometimes you just need someone to tell you where you're at and to get the hell out of it.
Yes. Yeah,
that's what I love.
Part.
Yeah. Have you seen oh goodness, it's Jonah Hill's, it's his therapist, and it's a Netflix documentary. It's so good.
I want to see it. It's on my list.
It's so good. And before we hop off for you guys to listen, it was so funny because he says you go to your therapist wanting them to tell you like what to do, and they guide you to tell yourself what to do. And then you go to your dumb friends and you just want them to listen and they tell you what to do. And it's like, flop this around. Like, you can see the big picture. Tell me what to do. I'll do it. So I love that you told her you have to do it this way. It's exactly what I tell my coaching clients and mine too. Don't recreate the wheel. Until you're doing better than me, do it this way. If it doesn't work, we'll figure that out together. All right. Thank you so much for being here.
I appreciate you inviting me. Thank you so much. This was great.
That was awesome. I love chatting with my students. I love my students so much. If you guys have not joined our birth classes, why? It is the best birth and postpartum community you will ever find. And there's information in the show notes. Okay, you guys, have a fantastic weekend. I love you guys. I hope that you are having a healthy and peaceful pregnancy. I will see you guys again next Friday. Bye for now.